Shana Tova. Love you too. Oh, sorry.
Shana Tova, everyone.
Hallelujah, bikocho. Hallelujah, birkia uso. Hallelujah, big furuta. Hallelujah, good Lord.
Boker Tov. Chag Sameach. Once again, for those of you who I have yet to have the opportunity to meet, my name is Barry Lutz, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, humbled to be here, to have this opportunity to help guide all of our journey into 5780. So let me ask, for how many of you who are with us here this morning, is this your first high holiday at University Synagogue? Me too. So welcome. You know, we translate Rosh Hashanah as New Year because, well, of course, that's what it is. But literally, Rosh, of course, as you know, means head, and Shana, year. But Shana can also be a word, Shana has its roots in the word change. And Rosh can also mean to start. And so today, Rosh Hashanah can actually be also translated as a time in which we start to change. Start to change, because change, of course, is a process. Change takes time. I know that because I'm a processor, and I'm always being asked to move a little bit faster. I mentioned last night that As a processor, I often like to kind of dwell over the prayer book and dwell over prayers and thoughts and the writings that we'll find inside our Machzor, our High Holiday Prayer Book. And I once again want to invite you, should you find your head or heart captured by a particular prayer, to feel free to process, to hover there for a moment. Don't feel rushed to have to go along with us as we move from page to page. If you need to be somewhere, you should stay there and take that reading, that prayer, that moment in for yourself. When you're ready to rejoin us, I guarantee you we'll catch you up to where we are. So I pray that our time together over these coming days will be the beginning of change, much needed change. Change for renewed meaning and purpose, change for hope and healing, and change, as Galinda and Elphaba would say, for good.
We sit here together and we create this holy community. The words on the pages should inspire us as one community, and not just those that are sitting here in this room, but we also say a Shana Tova and a welcome to those of you that are live streaming with us around the world. You're a part of us. We carry with us into this new year the weight of this past year. We celebrated at the highest peaks and we struggled in the deepest valleys. And we bring all that together today with this community. So we like to offer you a moment to take in that deep breath of this new year. We turn to pages 118 and 119 for a personal reflection. Let the words on the page inspire you, or simply just take this moment to prepare us as we create this holy community together of reflection, of redemption, and of this new year.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
My name is Zevi Berman. I am a cantorial student at Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, and I am honored to join all of you this year and these high holy days as University Synagogue's cantorial intern. We'll continue on page 142. Please rise.
We turn together to page 150. We join our voices together as we listen to the beauty and the holiness of this room as we continue with our Shema. You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn together to the bottom of page 163. And let's pray these words together, the bottom of our page, beginning with the word remember. Remember the stories of slavery, and you will never stop working for freedom. Remember their fear at the edge of the sea, and self-doubt will never defeat you. Remember when desperation turned to celebration, and you will never let go of hope. Remember the words of the Baal Shem Tov, forgetfulness leads to exile. Remembrance is the secret of redemption. We sing our song for redemption, page 164, Mi Chamocha.
Baruch atah Adonai
page 168. We rise together for the tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Ha'gadol Ha'gibor v'Ha'nora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'konei hakol V'zocher chasdei avot Ve'imahot Nevi Geulah Livnei v'neihem Lima'an Shemo Be'ahava Moshiach Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Amen Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol Atah Rav leHoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei hakol Berachamim Rabim Somech noflim Ve'rofeh cholim U'matir Asurim
Continue on page 174. Please be seated. The book.
I think the Unetana Tokef was a prayer created by a committee, not written by a single author, because there's too much theology that conflicts within the prayer itself. If we start on 174, we'll take a look at this for just a second before we hear the beautiful music of the Unetana Tokef. It talks about a God who is a judge, a God who is all completely powerful, a judge, a God who controls the universe, a God who is looked at as a shepherd and we the measly flock. I think that there is a change within the prayer itself. And it comes after the acknowledgement that our lives are short. Page 178, friends. And we know the famous refrain, who shall live and who shall die? Who by this method and who by that method? Who from strangling or will be troubled or plague or stoning or cancer or heart disease or random accidents or gunshots in this country? But we know that none of us have total control over this, and that's where the liturgical change comes on the top of 180, because it tells us that God is not all-powerful. If God were all-powerful, he would control your ability to change. If God were all-powerful, he could control your ability to repent. If God were all-powerful, God could control your prayer and your tzedakah. And that's where I think the key message of the prayer is, that it is in our hands. No matter what the theology, we are the ones that control the top of 180. Our return to the right path, our ability to pray, our ability to help others through our tzedakah. God can't control that. You have free will to control that. And I hope in this new year that you'll have the opportunity to extend your giving, to extend your kindness, to extend your search within, that we all become better people and help create a better humanity. Amen.
Page 178. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written, on the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. Page 180. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood.
ותשובה ותפילה וצדקה מעבירין את רוח הגזירה.
On page 202, we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכול, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש
Please be seated.
We're just about to do the biggest mitzvah of our Rosh Hashanah service, and that is the hearing of the shofar. But I want to introduce this by explaining that we're going to be doing something a little bit differently this year. You're going to be having shofar in surround sound. So because the mitzvah is not blowing the shofar, the mitzvah is hearing the shofar. So we want to make sure that everybody has that experience in a really special, unique way this year. And so I'd like to call up our shofar blowers. Scott Spencer, my husband, is going to come up onto the bima and be our shofar blower up on the bima. And then out in the congregation, Sam Alina. You can stand up, Sam. And Joe Wiener. Here. And Karen Shanbrom are all blowing shofar. So you should get a nice blast wherever you are in the congregation. And we continue on page 206.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishma kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Tekiah. Shavarim teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah.
הרשת שפתנו ירה לפניך הרום בניזה. הרשת שפתנו ירה לפניך הרום בניזה. מבין ומאזין מביט ומקשיב לכל תהיינו. ותכפר ברחמים רצון סדר מלכויותינו.
It's my honor and pleasure to invite to join us one of our co-presidents, Fern Tobasalka, who has some words to share with us.
Good morning. I'm Fern Topasalka, a little shorter than the other people, and I'm currently serving as co-president together with Jen Harmon. Joining me on the bima today, starting on my left, my husband, Joe Eben, Jen, and her husband, Mitch Viner. They changed orders. Rabbi Simons, I'm going to check this, Rabbi Emeritus Feinstein, Rabbi Lutz. On my right, Cantor Shapiro, and she's taller but hiding. Cantorial intern Zevi Berman, former president Donna Shapiro and her husband Angel Castillo, longtime members and usher Don Kaplan and Linda Kaplan, and board member Jonathan Carson and his wife Stephanie. On behalf of all of us, I'm pleased to welcome each of you to our High Holy Day services for the year 5780. I was also president of this synagogue in 5760, exactly 20 years ago. It too was a time of transition. As it was then, I'm stepping in at a time when we as a congregation are experiencing loss and change, which paradoxically has always been an opportunity for reassessment and the window to an enhanced future. Like many of you, I come to this place in the hope of finding meaning and, yes, even magical transcendence. And sometimes I find one or the other or both through the music, a ritual, a prayer, a teaching. Most often, though, I find my moments of deepest meaning and magic come from two things: personal connection and service to some higher values and ideals. Together with our ongoing devotion to music, prayer, and study, these two additional ways of finding meaning and magic will be the focus of this year ahead here at University Synagogue. On Yom Kippur, I'll let you know about the need for and ways we propose to engage in meaningful activities together, and we hope you'll plan on staying here during the non-lunch break on that day to explore a couple of those special action opportunities. However, today I'd like to explain a little bit about what we mean by connection in the context of our synagogue and how we propose to foster a climate for its growth. To that end, we're putting a laser focus and all of our collective energy on creating a stronger community through small group activities where people genuinely get to know each other and invest in one another's well-being. We hope this focus, which we call Chavarim Kiddushim, a sacred community of friends, will provide many of you with a way to experience moments of true personal connection. Some of you may have noticed that I've been standing at the front door of this synagogue each year during the High Holy Days over the span of the last 2 decades, welcoming you as you enter the sanctuary. I'm always mildly surprised at how moved I am by the sight of so many old and new members, how happy I am to experience this brief connection. The leadership and I believe that if we share more of not just our time, but also our genuine selves, we can all feel more of the meaning and magic we can find in this special place. Sharing personal moments is not just a touchy-feely concept, but part of an ancient tradition of using stories in Torah to help us to guide our lives today. The power of stories for Jews is poignantly illustrated in a book called Number Our Days, which quotes a tailor whose town was obliterated during a pogrom. In my life, he said, I carry with me everything, all those people, all those places. I carry them around until my shoulders bend. I can see the old rabbi, the workers pulling their wagons, a man carrying his baby tied to his back, walking up from the vistula, no money, no house, nothing to feed his child. His greatest dream is to have a horse of his own, and in this he will never succeed. So I carry him. The tailor's story carries the man, and now we, the listeners, carry both men. Through stories, we carry each other and our Jewish heritage. My own journey as a child of Polish Holocaust survivors in a family decimated by war made such a search for connection almost inevitable. This quest was furthered when I was 11, and my mother, who had supposed her entire family had been killed, came running through the streets of New York, where we lived, waving a flimsy blue and white aerogram from her brother, whom she had not known was alive nor seen for over 20 years. As it turned out, he was indeed surviving and living in Tel Aviv. Several months later, my mother and I were on a plane to Israel, where I stood at the top of the landing to his apartment as she and her brother were united, holding each other and crying for what seemed like 20 minutes. I was a witness to their reconnection, but it also connected me to my family and the wider Jewish experience. Luckily, not all of us have Jewish stories about persecution and death, but all Jews have stories about the immigrant experience or about Jewish life in America or wherever and however you were raised, about the big things that happened in our lives that mattered, about the small things that matter too. In fact, as a divorce lawyer and mediator, I know that everyone has stories. And that our stories give meaning to our lives, and sharing them binds us to each other. And when we're bound to each other, it is transcendent. For this reason, we at University Synagogue are initiating a Getting to Know Each Other campaign. We encourage each of you to connect with each other in deeper and more authentic ways. And to that end, we have a number of plans, both big and small, for making connection more accessible. Staff and board members will wear name tags so we are more than familiar faces to you. And after the High Holy Days, we urge you to wear the name tags we've made for all adult members. The name tags will be in the cabinet just opposite the inside door to the chapel, and you just pick them up whenever you come in, drop them off in the basket on top of the cabinet when you leave. We've also formed membership circles where lists of family members are assigned to volunteers from our congregation. You may have already gotten a call, and you can expect to receive an additional call or two or an email during the year, not requesting money, although your donation is important. And you can do that by opening your booklets and filling out the envelopes in the booklets and then putting them in the baskets, which you'll find on the way out. But we do, with membership circles, we're just calling to invite you to activities, find out how you're doing, and to stay in touch. Volunteers will also be hosting Connect Us events, which will be small group gatherings where we will share some food and conversation in order to get to know each other better. And we hope that many of you will sign up to be hosts for one event. The sheet for that is located in the rotunda as you leave. We have many other wonderful programs, a number of which are listed in your booklet. Each activity is not only a learning opportunity, but a chance to deeply connect with one another. As a kickoff to this initiative, as you leave and walk to your cars, I hope you'll consider turning to some folks you don't know well and asking them to share something they are grateful for now. I'm grateful that I've just had my 10th grandchild, a minion, that I am still able to engage in meaningful work, and that I have the opportunity to take on this sacred task. I'd also like to express my gratitude to our clergy, our soaring choir, our devoted office, educational, and maintenance staff, and our ushers. I look forward to sharing your stories and us sharing them together. Good Yantif, Lashana Tikatevu, may you all be inscribed in the book of life.
As we turn to our prayer for peace, which you can find on page 216, I'll just note that I'm sure most of you know the main meaning of this word shalom, which of course is peace. But you may not know that that word shalom also means wholeness. And Fern, what you described for us, with us all bringing our stories and sharing them and being part of this wonderful community that we have here, is a vision of the wholeness that this prayer speaks of. Page 216.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed berachamim, aleinu ve'al
In just a moment, we will rise and turn to page 222 and 223 to offer together the beautiful words of Avinu Malkeinu. As we stand together in just a moment and open the ark, let us reflect that standing in front of the Torah on this holy day, it's a reflection into our soul, the soul that we've kept hidden throughout the year. And now is the opportunity to let that soul shine through. Let us rise together on page 223 and reflect as one.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Katanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Amor Aleinu. Ve'al Aleinu, ve'tapinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kodenu, Besefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu
I'm going to invite up all of my teen choir members to come join me on the bima. please come on up right away.
And we continue on page 228. Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the 1000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh V'Modeh. ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים. You guys can go back down. כי מציון, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל. ברוך שנתן תורה
I need the Feinsteins.
ישראל בקדושתו, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים.
You can go back.
You may be seated. Should I call it the Torah reader? If you are one of our Torah readers this morning, we invite you to come up to the bima. One of our Torah readers. We have a number of aliyot this morning, but before we do so, we want to hear a few words on the Torah portion that we're going to read for you.
Thank you. We come this morning to what is considered to be one of the most troubling, puzzling, and enigmatic passages of the Torah, the binding of Isaac. Why do we read about the binding of Isaac on Rosh Hashanah? I'm pretty sure if you asked 100 clergy, you would probably get about 110 different answers. But I think it may be just that, because this story touches on so many issues that our minds are on during these days. Is it a story about faith? Is it perhaps a warning about the dangers of fanaticism? A cautionary tale for us about parenting? Certainly it is all of those things and so much more. And each year I seem to find in it something new and particularly important. This year, it is actually a question asked by Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, the Kotzker Rebbe, who lived in the first half of the 19th century. He asked this question, which is important for us to consider. What moment, he asked, of the entire ordeal was most difficult for Abraham? What moment was most difficult for Abraham? Think about your own answer for a moment, while I'll tell you what the Kotzker Rebbe said. The most difficult moment for Abraham was coming down the mountain. Coming down the mountain. Because for the rest of his life, Abraham had to live with his actions on the top of the mountain. He had to live with the decisions that he made in that moment. We don't know what he thought about what had happened there, but no doubt he often reflected on that moment on the top of the mountain and its reverberations throughout the rest of his life. Just as we too must live with the consequences and reverberations of all of our choices. Perhaps that lesson is reason enough for us to read this cautionary and challenging Torah portion this morning. You'll find the text for the Akedah in your Machzor as we continue now with the words of the Torah.
For our first Aliyah this morning, we invite up the 2019 officers, trustees, and past presidents of University Synagogue. Please come forward. Days, months, years for some of you, decades for some of you. You have guided this community. You are stewards. You are the flame. You keep this flame alive of our vision and of our mission. And so we call you to this Torah, the foundation of our work, the foundation of our community, the foundation of our collective soul. We invite so many of you to gather around this Torah as we thank you for your holy work. Together, 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach, Baruch Adonai hamborach leolam va'ed, Baruch Adonai hamborach leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our first Torah reader is Brennan Jacobs. Brennan is a sophomore at Vistamar School in El Segundo, and he loves that University Synagogue offers continuing education past B'nai Mitzvah age. We love that you're taking advantage of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Vayehi ahar hadvarim ha'ele veha Elohim nisa et Avraham. Vayomer elav Avraham. Vayomer hineni. Vayomer kach no. Et binha et yehidaha asher ahavta et itak v'lech lecha el eret hamoria v'haleu sham leila al echad harim asher omar elecha vayashkem Avraham baboker vayakavosh et hamoro vayikach et shnei nerav ito ve'e yitzhak beno vayavaka atzeila vayakam vayelech el hamakom asher amar lo ha'elohim vayom hashlishi vaysa Avraham et einav vayar et hamakom merakok.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayehu b'olam tov v'tofinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thank you for your leadership. May you continue to grow from strength to strength. Our second Aliyah is for the 2019 officers of our youth group Unity, anyone involved in Nifty, Camp, our twinning program, or the Maccabia Games. We invite you all now to come forward to our bima.
And while our second Aliyah folks are coming on up, I'll introduce our second Torah reader, Renata Feinstein. Renata is a junior at Pali High, and she is the Vice President of Programming and Social Action for our youth group, Unity. And Renata loves all the ways that we're able to connect with each other and come together as a loving and supportive community. We love how you're here for us.
L'dor vador nagid golecha. From generation to generation, you carry the flame of Judaism in your hearts. As we move our people forward, you are the ones who are moving us. You inspire us, you teach us, you push us. Keep up your leadership, and we promise that we will all follow you. We ask you now to come bless the Torah as you have blessed us. 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Avraham El Na'arav Shavu Lachem Po Im HaChamor Vani Vahanar Nelcha Ad Ko V'nishtacheveh V'nashuva Alechem Vayikach Avraham Et Atzei Ha'olah Vayasem al Yitzchak beno, vayikach biado, et ha'esh ve'et ha'ma'achelet, vayelchu shnehem yachdav. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv, vayomer avi, vayomer hinei veni, vayomer Hine ha'esh v'ha'etzim v'hayeh ha'seh le'olah Vayomer Avraham Elohim Yira'eh lo ha'seh le'olah v'ni Vayelchu shnehem yachdav.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you so much for all you do. May you continue to inspire us. For our third Aliyah, we invite up the 2019 Hevra Torah class, the class that meets here every Saturday morning to study Torah.
And our third reader is Elia Torkian. Ellie also goes to Pali High. She's a sophomore. And Ellie loves the connection of the worldwide community of Jews. I'm going to also share, these are things that they shared with me, but I'm going to also share, if anyone's ever looking for a B'nai Mitzvah tutor, this is your person right here. She learned trope faster than anyone I've ever met. You're a natural. I think you were a Baal Koreh in a past life.
To the 2019 Hevra Torah class. Under the guidance and leadership of Rabbi Stan Davids, your weekly commitment to Torah, to community, and to learning keeps that flame of knowledge burning bright throughout this community. We are taught, turn it over and over again. For each reading, you will find something new. You live these words. You breathe this teaching. So we invite you to bless this Torah the way that you have blessed this community.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Yomrach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayavo El Hamakom Asher Amar Lo HaElohim Vayiven Sham Avraham Et HaMizbeach Vaya'aroch Et Ha'etzim Vaya'akod Et Yitzchak Beno Vayasem Oto Al HaMizbeach Mimal La'etzim Vayishlach Avraham Et Yado Vayikach Et Hama'achelet Lishchot Et Beno Vayikra Elav Malach Avraham Adonai Min Hashamayim Vayomer Avraham Vayomer Hineni.
V'chaye olam nota b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thank you for all of your study and for all of your guidance. For our fourth and last Aliyah, we invite up the 2019 PAL presidents.
And our Torah reader is Eliana Feinstein. Eliana also goes to Pali High, where she is a junior. Eliana is the president of our University Synagogue Youth Group, Unity, and she loves how Jewish community cares for and supports one another, both here at University Synagogue and beyond. I'm assuming that's camp and places like that.
As you represent the entire preschool community, tradition teaches us that we place honey on Hebrew words for a child's first learning experience so that all Torah learning will be sweet. The work you do with PAL, your stewardship of our preschool community, and the bonds that you help create for both our children and our parents is providing that sweetness for life. We invite you to bless this Torah with the sweetness that you have blessed our community.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer al tishlach yadcha el hanar ve'al ta'as lo me'oma ki atah yadata ti hirei Elohim atah v'lo chazakta et mincha jechidecha mimeni. Vayisav Avraham et einav vayar v'hinei ayil achar nacher bazvach v'karnav vayelech Avraham vayikach et ha'ayil vayelehu lelah tachad beno vayikra Avraham Shem hamakom ha'u Adonai Yireh asher Yameh hayom Bahar Adonai Yireh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
It's hard enough to get a preschooler out of the house and into school each day, but the two of you do so and then guide our community. May we all take some of your strength into this new year. Thank you.
Amen.
You turn to the inside of your High Holiday pamphlet. You'll find there, under Songs We Sing, the words of Misha Berach. As we pause to pray for the healing of those of our loved ones, those suffering illness of body or mind or spirit, we pray for a refuah shlema, that they may find a full and complete healing. As we prepare to join together in the words of this prayer, I invite you to share with us, if you would like to, the names of those you are holding in your hearts at this moment.
Sandy Levy, Rabbi Morley Feinstein.
We turn together to page 246. To lift up the Torah, we invite Nick Melvoin. Nick, today you are representing your entire family who currently is across the pond with your brother. Decades of leadership and stewardship that has lifted up this community. We invite you now to lift up our Torah. We invite everyone that is able to please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ויד משה. לי
It's my honor to call upon those who will be helping us with the Haftarah. First, I call upon Cap Gordon, who will be chanting the blessing before the reading. And we call upon Alan Schultz, who will be reading our Haftarah this morning, and Emily Glenn, who will be doing the blessing after the reading. You can all come up now. And as you're coming up, I'll share a little bit about these wonderful people.
And you may be seated.
I was going to say, we're going to make you stand up through the Haftarah.
I'm standing up. Cap, come on up. Cap is a freshman at Windward, and he loves being a part of this community here at University Synagogue, where he can make friends and be himself. He also wants all of you to know that he loves Israel. And I'll share with you something very special about Cap, which is that when he was studying for his bar mitzvah with me, we did, I think, all of our lessons? Yeah. All of our lessons virtually, because he was in Madrid and I was here in Los Angeles. So we had international Skype lessons. You can find the blessing before the reading of the Haftarah on page 247.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrechem ha'anemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, Habocher Batorah, Uv Moshe Avdo, Uv Yisrael Amo, Uvin Vinei Haemet Vatzedek.
Amen. Reading the Haftarah for us today is Alan Schultz. Alan is a junior at Pali. He's also a song leader here in our religious school and also at Nifty events. Alan loves our Reformed Jewish community, and he loves getting to know all of the people here. We know that's true, Alan. You are one of the most friendly people I've ever met, and we love you for that.
Vatitpalel Hana Vatomar Alat Libi Badonai Rama Karani Badonai Rachav Pi Al Ovai Ki Samachti Beshuatecha En Kodesh Kadonai Ki En Biltecha Ve'en sur Kelochenu Al Tarbu Tadabru Gevoa Yetze Ata Mipichem Ki El Deot Adonai Velo Nitkanu Alilot Keshet Giborim Hatim Uvshech Unichalim Atru Chayil Sevaim Balechem Niskaru Urevim Chadelu Ad Akara Yalda Shiva Verabat Banim Umlalach.
And our blessing after the reading of the Haftarah can be found on page 259. Emily Glenn will lead us in this blessing. Emily is a senior at Pali High. She's a former member of both our teen choir and our High Holy Day choir. And Emily loves Judaism because she can be part of a loving community that accepts people for who they are. May we always be that place, not just for you, Emily, but for everyone.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol haolamim sadik bechol hadorot ha'el haneman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayim shekol devarav emet v'tzedek Al HaTorah ve'al havodah ve'al haniviim ve'al yom hazikaron hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu lechavod u'letifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך, בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד, ורווחה אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, ויום הזיכרון.
Amen.
We rise together on page 276 as we return our Torah to the Ark.
Hallelujah.
It's not fair. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you said it yourself? And how many times have you responded or been responded to with a shrug of the shoulders and life's not fair? I have come face to face with that harsh reality too many times in my role as a rabbi. As I have in recent weeks, I often find myself at the center of an unexpected tragedy, being asked to field the question, why? Why did this happen? Why did God let this happen? My response, God didn't. Sometimes life's just unfair. The Unatana Tokef, the difficult liturgical poem which Rabbi Feinstein beautifully introduced to us this morning, metaphorically makes just this declaration: life isn't fair. The poet's imagery places God at the center of all that is both fair and unfair in life. And perhaps the author of this liturgical piece did indeed conceive of God as the puppet master, pulling the strings, controlling all of our fates from a place of divine reasoning beyond our limited human understanding. But I have to be honest, I just don't think the world works that way. For me, the imagery remains just that, imagery, emphasizing not so much God's control, but our lack of it. Life is unfair, unpredictable. But that's not the end of the story. The Unatana Tokef tells us that as well. There is a great deal which we can control, ways in which we can temper, if not fully arrest, life's harsh and unrelenting realities. We can soften the blow. And at a moment in time that seems particularly harsh and unrelenting, a time that finds many of us feeling worried and anxious and afraid, this is such an important message for us to remember. We can soften life's harshness. We can stand strong together. While we can do nothing about the randomness that sometimes, yes, blesses and sometimes curses our existence, we are not helpless. We're told that at the beginning of the Unatana Tokef. When you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. When we respond to life's harsh realities by coming together, offering each other love and comfort and support, we leave our imprint and soften even the harshest of decrees. I experienced this in such a powerful way in recent weeks. As I stood with the North Valley Jewish community, reeling in shock over the tragic deaths of 3 members of that community. In nightly vigils and memorial gatherings filled with prayer, the blows were somewhat softened, the pain somewhat abated, in the loving, comforting arms that we wrapped around each other. Last night, I introduced Hillel's rabbinic raison d'être for Judaism. It begins with a question of personal identity. Im ein ani li mili. Who am I? And our tradition's response is, you are a being created Tselem Elohim. You are a being created in God's image. And that, of course, is an essential first step. We have to understand who we are. But that only begs the second of Hillel's questions. Uchsha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani. If I'm only for myself, what am I? As one made in God's image, what is my purpose here? Can the answer to that question be anything other than to act as God's surrogate, to do what God would do, and be a godly source of love and compassion and justice. Our purpose was first established at the foot of Mount Sinai, where we were instructed. Yes, we were instructed, because you do know that we were all there at the foot of Sinai. V'yikhu li truma me'et kol ish asher yidvenu libo. Accept gifts from every person whose heart is so moved. Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. And make me a sanctuary, that I might dwell among you. When I give from my heart, and you give from yours, we create a dwelling place for God among us. And in so doing, we are able to temper some of life's harshness. It's an experience we have all had, that we've all shared in a particularly challenging life moment when we have rallied with each other, when we have rallied for each other. We create a sanctuary, and we can feel God's presence dwelling among us. So here's the Zen question of the morning. Every Rosh Hashanah needs a Zen question. Does God dwell here when we're not here? Is God here when we're not? I think not. Because God dwells wherever we come together in love and support of each other. God resides wherever we create a spot, a place for God to do so. God lives where we give to each other from our hearts. God dwells with us. It was just such a desire to create that kind of sanctuary, that place for God to reside among us, that motivated our co-presidents, Fern and Jen, to create the Getting to Know You campaign that you've heard a little bit about over Rosh Hashanah. Their hope and mine, I think all of ours, is that in getting to know each other better, we will bring added purpose and meaning to this godly dwelling place. We will bring God into this dwelling place. The Unetana Tokef identifies three particular categories of human action through which we can create that sanctuary. Three categories that are vital to answering Hillel's second question, Ma'ani. What am I? What's my purpose? What am I doing here? The first of those actions is tefillah, prayer. When we think of prayer, we most often think of talking to God up there. Our image is of eyes turned upward. But actually the Hebrew verb for to pray, lahitpalel, suggests something else. It's a reflexive verb, so that its direction is not upward, but inward. Prayer is more like a mirror. A lesson I first learned from a kindergarten student. She, along with her class, were having a guided tour of the sanctuary. Time grew short, and their tour guide, Rabbi, was not going to have time to show them what was behind the curtain in the ark. Not this ark, clearly. This led to a very animated discussion of what actually was behind the curtain. The game show aficionado kindergartner said, "I know what's behind the curtain. A brand new car." The nihilist among them was sure the ark was empty. And someone, of course, knew that the Torahs were there. But the one who caught everyone's attention was a little girl who announced to the whole class, "You are all wrong. When the rabbi opens the ark, when we see what's behind those curtains, it will just be a great big mirror." Indeed, Torah, and our prayer book, by extension, is a great big mirror. Prayer reflects back to us what our purpose is. When we pray, we find reflected back to us what we need to remember about who we are and about our sense of purpose, namely, to lessen the harshness of life's realities by being a godly source of understanding and compassion, of love, to be a healing presence. The second category of human action is teshuvah, actions through which we give and receive forgiveness. Teshuvah is essential if we're going to live together in community. Community is a wonderful thing, yes? But admittedly, community can also be really complicated and messy. We know that as well. We need look no further than our ancestors in the wilderness to understand that sometimes the best laid plans just don't evolve as planned. I mean, their wilderness journey was quite a mess from time to time. And is our communal life so different? We too have the best of intentions, but we are just as human, just as fallible, just as prone to causing hurt and pain. And so we need a way to heal and repair the brokenness we cause, and a way to move past the hurt that has been done to us. That is teshuvah. Teshuvah gives us a way to move on, to move forward, rather than being and remaining stuck in the past. Like the young monk who was traveling with one of his elders. These two monks, the younger and the older, were journeying together, and they came to a river with a strong current. As the monks were preparing to cross the river, they saw a young woman also attempting to cross. And the young woman asked if they could help her cross to the other side because she was sure she couldn't make it across without drowning. The two monks glanced at one another because they had taken a vow not to touch a woman. Then, without a word, the older monk picked up the woman, put her on his shoulders, and carried her across the river, placing her gently down on the other side, and continued on his way. Well, the younger monk couldn't believe what had just happened. After rejoining his companion, he was speechless. An hour passed without a word between them. And then 2. And then 3. Until finally the younger monk could contain himself no longer. And he blurted out, "As monks, we took a vow not to touch a woman. How could you then carry her across the river on your shoulders?" The older monk looked at him and replied, "Brother, I set her down 3 hours ago on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Life is unfair enough without needlessly adding to its harshness because we refuse to forgive and refuse to ask for forgiveness. Teshuvah is a healing salve, tempering life's harshness by making it possible for us to stay connected and to let God dwell among us in healthy and meaningful relationships. And thirdly, there is tzedakah, not charity, but justice. Tzedakah is justice. And our responsibilities as bearer of God's image to the pursuit of justice is fundamental to our purpose, fundamental to creating a sanctuary in which God can exist, fundamental to tempering life's harshness. If I am only for myself, what am I? What am I if I refuse to hear the voice of the disenfranchised, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger? What am I if I turn away from those who have no place, no voice, no options? What am I if I refuse to acknowledge that I was a slave in Egypt, that I was a stranger, that I was an immigrant and a refugee? What am I if I forget my obligation as one created B'Tselem Elohim in God's image to remove the shackles of physical, emotional, and spiritual oppression. In a world where life is harsh and unfair, our task is not to unnecessarily make it worse by building needless boundaries, imposing pointless burdens, and placing unnecessary restrictions on others, also, like me, created in God's image. Indeed, our sacred task as God's partners is to lift up those who have fallen, taking in those who have no place, speaking for those who have no voice, and providing opportunities for those who have none. It is from this sense of divine obligation to be a source of justice that we will be joining as community in the second initiative, which Fern mentioned this morning, Doing Jewish Together, through which we intend to lessen the harshness of life's realities for so many in our community. Through acts of tefillah, teshuvah, and tzedakah, prayer, forgiveness, and justice, we can lessen the harshness of the decree. Now, lest you think that this is all nothing but religious cliche, I have to offer this little aside. Studies of communities, scientific studies of community, where per capita more people live to be centenarians than anywhere else on earth, have found that life lived in a faith-based community where prayer and teshuvah is practiced, where justice is a primary concern, live longer. It's a scientific fact. Longitudinal studies of individuals actively involved in the life of a religious community find that they are 20% less likely to die at any age. Simply put, people who pay attention to their spiritual side have lower rates of cardiovascular disease, depression, stress, and their immune systems just seem to work better. So consider this, that in being here this morning, engaging in prayer, weighing the changes you need to make, seeking forgiveness, and considering the role you can play in making the world more just and fair, you are also extending your life expectancy. You know, so much of life is unpredictable. Unanticipated events will happen this year. They will. To you, to your friends, to your family, to our community. Some will be welcome, delightful surprises, and some won't. It's a given. It will happen. But we don't have to just accept it. Ma'ani. What am I? We need to ask ourselves, what is my purpose? I am one who can lessen the blow. I am one who can offer support. I am one who can offer respect and honor, comfort and strength where it is needed. I am one who can offer compassion and love. I am one who can stand strong with you so that together we can soften the harshness of life's realities. I pray that in the course of these high holy days, the answer to that very essential question, Ma'ani, what am I, will be revealed to you with new meaning and renewed purpose. In the words of our prayers, may you see the reflection of your divine image. In acts of teshuvah, forgiveness, may your relationships be healed and transformed. Through acts of justice, tzedakah, may you be a source of righteousness and repair. And in love and understanding, may we all stand strong together, building a life of purpose and meaning, where the harshness of life is diminished by the sweetness of the blessings we bring to each other's lives. Shana Tova.
Take
light our way, that's our promise for today. This is what we'll do. Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone, we are not alone. We are not alone. Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you, we are not alone. We are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, if we sing one song, if we sing one song, we stand strong. We are not alone.
With those beautiful words still ringing true in our ears and our hearts, we begin the conclusion of our service as we enter back into the shofar service. We invite back up our Baal Tekiah, Scott Spencer, and we ask you as a congregation to turn to page 267. In the middle of the page, God of remembrance, remember the covenant of our ancestors. We affirm it today. Remember, we are a people of noble ideals. Help us attain them. Remember all your people, all the nations on the road to peace. Bless their efforts. Remember with mercy the binding of Isaac, the sorrow of Sarah, Abraham's words, Hineni, here I am. Blessed are you, Adonai. You remember the covenant. You remember us. We turn together to page 268 with our shofar blowers. And as we hear the sounds, we think of this idea of remembrance. Page 268. Tekiah. Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah.
Arashat Sifatenu Yara Lefanecha Eram Benisa. Arashat Sifatenu Yara Lefanecha Eram Benisa. Mevin Mumazin Mahabitu Makshi Lekol Lekol Tekiah Tehinu.
my pleasure to welcome Mitch Biner.
I'm not a senior at Pally, though. It's a lot of pressure. Though you do know that I'm Mitch Viner because of my handy name tag that you can get from the stand back there. And many of you may know me as one of the first husbands, as I was introduced last night. But what you don't know is that I am also the lucky winner of the Rabbi for the Day contest. So we're really going to change things up a little bit. Actually, I just wanted to say the most significant words in the liturgy over the High Holy Days. It would give me great pleasure to say, please be seated. Unfortunately, though, I'm not the rabbi for the day, but I am honored to share a few minutes with you. Not everyone's as honored as I am. But there are a few things that convey the sense of awe, spirit, and community of this place, like the High Holy Days. From my own earliest recollections of my Jewish upbringing to religious school for our son Dylan, the High Holy Days represent the opportunity to stop, reflect, engage, and celebrate our Judaism, our own personal growth, and our connection and community with others. While all year long this place accomplishes that, through programs, services, events, and schooling, the High Holy Days are separate and special. We accomplish this through Torah, through prayers recited through the generations, through the hard work and brilliance of our clergy, our choir, and our musicians. We celebrate in this beautiful sanctuary. We greet one another, share stories, and share that moment. To do this, however, takes a mammoth effort. It takes a building and the upkeep of that building with staff and power, with cleaning, parking, and security. It takes teachers in the religious school, cantors and music staff, and rabbis to lean on. It takes all those things now in the High Holy Days and really all year long. So here's the audience participation portion that you've been looking forward to. In these very handy, snazzy pamphlets this year, they're really informative, in the center, there's an envelope. If there's not an envelope in that, ushers will be around and they will provide one for you. We ask that you help us continue the work year-round. Just as a note, remember it's 5780, it's very inconvenient, we keep writing 5779. Maybe it's just me. But we do want you to be here with us to share community, to build that community year-round, to help celebrate who we are. Shana Tova.
We ask those that are sounding the shofar for us to rise in your places. We join them as a community. Let's rise together on page 284 for our final calls. Tekiah. Shivarim Trua. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah.
You remain standing and turn to page 286. We join together there in the Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol latet gedula liyotzer bereishit shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot velo samanu kimishbechot ha'adamah shelo sam chelkeinu kahem וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים
May the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all, created in your image, become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your dominion be established on the earth, and the word of your prophet be fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. And it has been said, Adonai shall reign over all the earth. On that day, Adonai shall be one, and God's name shall be one. You remain standing and turn to page 291. Yesh kokhavim she'oram magia arza. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. As we each remember those we hold dear on our own hearts, we turn to page 292. Join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'amad divrach yirutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'gadla v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach la'olam l'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Zichronam livracha. May all of the memories of our loved ones be for blessing. And we say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Turn that back on. Just before we conclude our worship, a few a few announcements. Hopefully you have received these pamphlets as you entered the sanctuary. We'll get them on your way out. A reminder that we hope you will take a bag with you as you leave today. Fill it up with goods for Sova and return it here with you on Yom Kippur so that we might support those in need in our surrounding community. We want to remind you at 3 o'clock this afternoon at the beach, we will be joining together in Tashlich, a really beautiful, wonderful moment to, well, symbolically do what we're all trying to do right now, is just get rid of that stuff we need to get rid of from last year so we are really, truly ready to move on fresh into a new year. We will be meeting at Lifeguard Station 15, Temescal Canyon. Enter, turn left, go all the way to the end. That's where we'll be. Look for the University Synagogue balloons.
Hope so.
Hopefully. They'll be hung on the lifeguard station. And we hope you'll join us there at 3 o'clock this afternoon. As Mitch mentioned, it is a gargantuan effort to make these High Holy Days happen, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank, on behalf of us all, those who have done so much to make this possible, our musical director, Susan Rosenstein, and our incredible choir and musicians. Thank you so much for the beauty and sanctity you add to our worship. Our ushers and greeters under the direction of Barry Sykoff, thank you for getting us all in here and seated. And I just want to take a moment to recognize the incredible staff here at University Synagogue who work so hard each and every day to support you, to support the efforts of our community and make this all possible. Our executive director, Toby Burkow, Hang Ho, Lauren Kaplan, Bonnie Kebri, Brandon Riley, Ruth Featherstone, in our school, April Schaefer, our ECLEC director, Alana Levitt, our assistant director, Ellie Laycook, our religious school director, and of course, Cruz and Rodell and Sammy, who set up the chairs and make this place happen and are just there to do whatever we need whenever we need them. Thank you to all of them for making this entry into the new year so beautiful and wonderful and precious. With that, did I forget anything? I probably did. Thank you. We'll turn to page 294.
That's for you.
And join together in Hayom.
Hayom, 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 Tzeinu. Hayom, 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 Tevareinu. Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom tegableinu. Hayom, 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 hayom tidrashenu litova. Hayom, 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 hayom tidrafenu l'chaim tovim. Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom tishma shavteinu. Hayom, 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 hayom titvechel b'mitzvtecha.
My colleague, Rabbi Greg Wolf, shares this teaching that he learned from our colleague, Rabbi Marcia Prager. Today is called Hayom Harat HaOlam, traditionally translated as today is the birthday of the world, as we have just sung. However, the Hebrew word olam, as many of you know, carries two meanings. It can mean both world, but as in melech haolam, but also eternal, as in le'olam va'ed. The actual phrase harat ha'olam originally came from the book of Jeremiah, where Jeremiah bemoans his fate as a prophet and wishes that he had never been born, that his mother had been harat olam, eternally pregnant. The word harat, yeah, can you imagine? I know, yes. The word harat means both birth and pregnant. So the phrase Hayom Harat Olam not only means today is the birthday of the world, but it also can alternatively be understood as today is eternally pregnant. Today, the now, each moment is eternally pregnant, eternally filled with potential and possibility. May our prayers, meditations, and reflections this day awaken us to the preciousness of life. Hayom Harat Ha'olam. Life is a dazzling array of possibilities, one after another, each a gift waiting to be opened eternally. Hayom Harat Ha'olam. Look at what a gift we each hold in our hands. Love, live, learn, give, grow all that you can each day. Hayom Harat Olam. Today is a treasure. Don't waste it. L'shana tova tikatevu.